All right.
Cool. We're rolling.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Movie Battleground. Yes, it's the awesome debate show where we get two competitors and they duke it out in movie topics. Always excited for this show, and I'm your host tonight, Jeremy the Adam Adams. Very excited to be back hosting. I used to be a competitor, fighting here all the time. Now I'm hosting these days. I'm just really excited to be a part of it, and we've got a really fun one for you tonight. We have two players who are returning. Neither of them have had that win yet, but they're hoping to get it today. Both these guys are a lot of fun. It's going to be, maybe a little not so intense, maybe a little looser, a little more fun. These are the kind of matches we like to have now and then, and I'm really excited. So with no further ado, let's introduce these guys. First, somebody that you know very well on this channel. He's been a part of it since pretty much the beginning, running matches, doing different things. He is unfortunately 0-2, but he's hoping to finally get on the board here today. Subrath Sharma, how are you feeling to be competing in the ring today?
Well, this is for the first time since after months and months of being behind the scenes, watching people argue and trying to punch each other. Except they can't. They live in different regions. I mean, if they were in the same place, I assume they will be, they'll be throwing punches. But
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how this is going to be with my opponent. He has his first match against basically one of the toughest guys I know, Greg Weinstein. I mean, it was unfortunate he got knocked out. I mean, I know the feeling twice. So let's see how this match goes then.
All right, and he hinted, but our other player tonight, we love this guy. He's always lots of fun. Asher Berkson-Gold, how are you feeling to be here today, buddy? Hoping to get that first win.
Yeah, I actually forgot to put on the glasses, so here we go. Yeah, the patented glasses tonight. Cheetah Girls glasses. I'm feeling good. I lost to Greg the Weinstein. Nice name. Pronounces it wrong on purpose.
Yep.
Cool. Good for him. He's a really good competitor with a really unique nickname. If he decided to pronounce it right, that would be better. But I get the point of the bit. I get the bit. So whatever. I'm ready to face Subrath. I did not prepare, and that's okay because I'm going to come with witty banter, and I hope that witty banter equals good arguments. So let's see what happens.
We'll see. Well, I'm going to tell you right now what I'm looking for, and we'll see if your lack of preparation covers it. Basically, we're going to have 3 main round questions. You already have provided your answers. I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm going to be looking for your knowledge of the movies, arguments. I'm going to be looking for creativity in your answers, and being able to counter the points that the other person makes, both pro and con. So if you guys are ready, we're going to get to the first topic. Your first question tonight is, I love this one. What is the best ensemble cast led mostly by women? So basically what we're going to do is give you each the chance to give an opening argument, a very quick opening argument, and then we're going to go into a 5-minute round where it's open floor and you can battle each other. But since we have a guy who's been on this channel longer, I'll go ahead and let you start tonight, Subrath. Give us what movie you've picked and what your opening argument is for best ensemble cast led mostly by women.
Well, my pick is, it's basically the favorite, I think, of all the female ensemble. With I know there are much better movies back in 70s or 60s, but I picked this one because this actually relates to modern day, and I think it still affects to if young girls watch this movie, they can relate. Because maybe they feel like they want to be one of the popular girls in school. So my pick is basically Mean Girls, and this movie it's about. It's Lindsay Lohan's character. She's basically the nerd type of character, and she wants to be one of the popular girls, and it's. Then this is where the 3 popular girls were played by Rachel McAdams, Amanda Seyfried, and the other one, I forgot her name, I'm sorry.
Lacey Chabert.
Lacey Chabert.
Yeah, okay. I forgot. Basically,
Okay.
just the two of them. I know, like they're basically popular, and 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 it shows you how the struggles that Lindsay Lohan's character goes through to become one of these popular girls, and actually it relates to the. This is why I picked the best ensemble female because it relates to the real life situations.
All right, awesome. Very, very solid pick there with Mean Girls. One of the primo teen cast, definitely. But we're going to go over to Asher. What did you pick for this argument? What is your opening salvo?
I think actually the baseline for any good female-led comedy or movie in general is Bridesmaids. I think it's the funniest of the movies led by female casts. I think it has a very talented cast in general, very good direction from Paul Feig. It's a coming-out party for Melissa McCarthy, who was working on the grind in LA for years, and she finally gets her big moment to shine as in this movie. You have Kristen Wiig in a huge shining moment, still on SNL, and this is her first big knock into the spotlight in movie form, which is really great, really awesome. You have Maya Rudolph, another SNL alum, kicking it old school, and you got Rose Byrne, who is honestly the most underrated of these female actresses in this movie. I think she has the best performance in the movie, myself, and in my own opinion. I have a lot more points, but I think that Bridesmaids is truly the quintessential female-led ensemble cast movie.
All right, another awesome pick. Bridesmaids, definitely one I thought might come up when you're talking about female casts, but these are both solid picks. So I'm excited to see how this is going to go. I'm starting your 5 minutes now. We're going to go into the open floor and just have at each other, guys, and let's get some good debating back and forth here and go.
Okay. So I'm just going to start by saying this. I think Mean Girls, it's a movie for a certain time and a certain place. And it was written very well by Tina Fey. I also think that Bridesmaids is the perfect evolution of everything that Mean Girls was thinking of doing and puts it into a much better perspective. It puts it into, basically, it's a Mean Girls for adults, which is awesome. And I know I'm using that as like
Mean Girls leads to the, the real life situation, when you go to high school, when a small girl goes to high school and she sees that these people who are more popular, and she strives to become one of them, or she strives to be friends with them. And in this movie, it shows you that Lindsay Lohan's character, she has to sacrifice even her own friends, like the least popular friends, to join these trios. And basically, and she was told to humiliate. Tina Fey is in this movie as well, and she plays one of the teacher, and she was humiliated by Lindsay Lohan's character just for her to join Rachel McAdams' trio of popular girls.
I would not.
It shows you the consequences of what she goes through.
If your argument is that
Bridesmaids, I don't think it shows any kind of similar types of aspect. Mean Girls, it affects you in it shows you, it basically makes you feel for Lindsay Lohan's character, the things that she goes through, and
if you're using the argument that yours is a very realistic movie for high school, I'd very much argue that maybe in 2004, in the mid 2000s, but now I don't think it's that much the case. I think a lot more teens, the whole idea of popularity is still there, but I think the way they go about it is very different nowadays. Prom is very different. High school food chains are very different. I was just in high school a few years ago, so I understand that high schools changed dramatically, and as the fact that you don't think
because of that movie, it changed dramatically because of that movie. That movie affects,
I would not argue that that's a reason it changed dramatically. I'd argue it's because of societal shifts and cultural trends, not because of that, just because of other things. And I'd also say that this evolution of movies itself and the evolution of Bridesmaids from Mean Girls, the reason I'm saying that is because you have all of these catty women who are catty to each other. You have Kristen Wiig's character, who is basically just trying to get back with her friend Maya Rudolph, but then you have Rose Byrne's character, who is basically Regina George. She's very catty. She just wants a friend, and she just wants to be popular, and she wants to be liked by her friend. And having this battle between Rose Byrne and Kristen Wiig throughout the entire movie, with these ancillary characters like Melissa McCarthy, like Ellie Kemper, like those two, you clearly see that these characters are like kind of like Mean Girls, but they do it so much better because it takes this idea of a high school mentality and it promotes it to an adult reality, which I think is really interesting. When you look at adults now, there are still moments that like 30 somethings have this catty attitude towards each other, and they have this sort of snide remarks, snide comments, trying to find each other, trying to befriend each other, trying to have friends, trying to not be lonely. And I think that's a perfect example with these five women, with these five lead women in this movie. I think it's not even to mention, I think it's a funnier movie than Mean Girls. I didn't even mention that yet. I think it's funnier. I think the women have so much better chemistry than Lindsay Lohan and Rachel McAdams and Amanda Seyfried.
I think it depends. If you say one movie is funny or the other, it's like I think it's the opinion. I think it's like depends on people's opinions, because I mean, some people say that Bridesmaids is funny. Some people say Mean Girls would be funnier because Mean Girls is the one that basically it came out before.
30-second warning, guys.
You take out the humor. It's still just a better chemistry between the actresses.
I mean, Mean Girls without the comedy itself, it also shows you the consequences and all the actions that Lindsay Lohan takes to join the popular girls, and in the end, she was betrayed by a popular girl. So that shows.
But we're asking about the better movie with the better ensemble.
All right, guys. That is going to be the 5 minutes. I know it goes fast sometimes. We're going to go into closing arguments now. So I'm just going to give you just a quick moment here to give your final thoughts, whatever you didn't get in the main argument that you want to say to kind of close out. And then since Subrath went first, we'll go to Asher first this time to give his closing statement.
I just want to ask what the question was specifically.
The question was specifically, what is the best female ensemble cast? I'm sorry, what is the best ensemble cast led mostly by women?
Okay.
That was the exact wording of the question.
Okay, so to answer that, it is Bridesmaids over Mean Girls because you have such a much better chemistry between the cast. You have heavyweights who are showing their chances to shine in this movie. Melissa McCarthy has a coming out party. Kristen Wiig gets to show that she's a great movie actress as well as an SNL actress. Maya Rudolph shows that too. Rose Byrne has a very underrated role in this movie. And I think it's everything that Mean Girls wanted to do, but put into a perspective of the adult world, which is so much better than what Mean Girls was trying to do.
All right, and Subrath, your final argument.
I mean, Mean Girls also has the best ensemble character. But I mean, you have Rachel McAdams. Back then, she was just this is her one of her earlier roles before she became the Oscar contenders. And Lindsay Lohan was also in one of her best shape or form in that year. Although she didn't go so much then. But that was one of her most famous roles in Mean Girls, and I mean, so far, yeah. I mean, like I said before, I mean, Mean Girls, I think opens the doors for I think it's because of Mean Girls that Bridesmaids happened. Because once you tell the story of teenage girls, how do you top that? You move on, you tell the story of real life adults who are dealing with marriage problems and relationship problems, and you start that from Mean Girls. So, in my opinion, Mean Girls somehow affects the outcome of Bridesmaids. And in regards to ensemble, the cast, you have Tina Fey, you have Rachel McAdams, you have Amanda Seyfried. Also, I would also count Lindsay Lohan was that was basically one of her best roles. I mean, in her career, I mean, it could be the only one. But if you talk about the cast, I mean, maybe Bridesmaid has the ensemble, but in story-wise, everything, I think Mean Girls pulls it off way better than Bridesmaids. That's all.
All right, guys. So that's our first argument. That was a fun one. Really liked the spirited debate there. It's great anytime we get to talk about these female-led movies, and maybe they don't get enough love on shows like this, so it's always great. Just to kind of recap what we had here, Subrath had some really good points about Mean Girls, how affecting it is, how it paints the teenage experience, how talented the young cast is, and how it was kind of groundbreaking in its way, kind of paving the way for movies like Bridesmaids to come later, and how you can have a funny comedy movie with these, the female-led cast. You mentioned Tina Fey, who also wrote the film, and then Asher coming back with Bridesmaids, saying it's, kind of the evolution of Mean Girls. He went pretty deep on the different actresses that were in the film, mentioned the director Paul Feig, and talked about the chemistry and everything there. Both good arguments. I do just have to say, if you're what we're looking at, I kind of have to get specific on what the question was, and the question was the best ensemble cast. And I just think that, Asher did have more points specifically to that in terms of the chemistry, really going deeper with, different actors and performers that were in the movie, the way that the cast worked together. And he kind of had some points against Mean Girls there. And Subrath I feel like he was arguing more Mean Girls as an influential movie, as a very good movie, as a touching movie. And, I agree with all of that. But specifically what we're looking for is the performances. And I would say maybe there was a missed opportunity with actresses such as Lizzie Kaplan, other people that were in the movie that could have been mentioned that I think also kind of rounded out that cast. Whereas Asher he pulled out the Ellie Kemper and different people in the cast there. So not it was a close one, but I do have to award the first point there to Asher. So we're going to move on to our second question here today, going with something a little different. I like this one. And it is, what movie would be ruined if you knew that movie's biggest spoiler? And I am going to go ahead and give a spoiler warning here. If you don't want to get spoiled on, we're talking spoilers. We're going to have to talk about the spoilers for these movies. So, if you want to skip the last argument, be our guest. But hopefully, these are pretty well-known movies and you'll know this already. So I'm going to go to opening arguments, and I'm going to switch up and start with Asher this one. Why don't you tell us what movie you picked and give your opening argument for the movie that would be ruined if you gave away its biggest spoiler.
Okay. In 1995, horrible person Bryan Singer created a masterful work known as The Usual Suspects. The Usual Suspects is, you like how I said, yeah. The Usual Suspects is a great movie starring other horrible person, Kevin Spacey.
Knew that was coming.
Yeah. And plenty of other goons about a robbery gone wrong, a crime gone wrong, and there is a name mentioned and thrown around a lot in the film, Keyser Söze. One of the head detectives on the case interviews this man, Verbal Kint, played by douchebag Kevin Spacey. And Kevin Spacey is a man who plays Verbal Kint, suffering from, I believe, cerebral palsy. And he's going through this speech. He's talking about his alibi. He's going through his alibi, stuff like that. And he's pretty much coming up with really, really remarkable things that pretty much clear his name. He's a man with cerebral palsy who has a very clear and distinct alibi. I mean, there's nothing else to say about it. As Verbal Kint walks out of the detective's office and is free to go, the detective looks up and drinks his coffee and looks at a bunch of posters. And sees these posters are, in fact, a bunch of things that Kevin Spacey's Verbal Kint actually recited in his alibi, leading him to believe, and leading everybody to understand, that Keyser Söze, the criminal, is in fact Verbal Kint, played by Kevin Spacey. And the final shot of the film is Kevin Spacey smoking a cigarette, looking perfectly normal. The entire cerebral palsy thing was an act, and one of the best lines in cinema history, which I can't remember right now at the moment. All I remember is the second half where it's poof, he's gone. But the reason, and the question is the reason it would be. You know what? I'm gonna save the reason for. I just like the intro. I'm gonna save the reason for my main argument. But
All right.
yeah.
Fair enough. All right. So, Usual Suspects, definitely one of the go-tos if you're going to talk about a twist and a possible spoiler. But Subrath, I think you picked one of the big ones too. What is your movie and what is your opening argument?
I mean, before I start, I mean, I remember that smoking cigarette scene, but it was in Scary Movie 1. I mean, it was also something
Nice.
similar.
Scary Movie 1 after.
Now it recalls me. Okay, so basically to counter that, the movie I picked, I mean, I saw this movie after I saw this, basically what now is the second movie of this upcoming trilogy. And this movie has like one of the biggest shocking ending, which did not even expect to see. I mean, I basically never watched this movie. I've never heard about it. I mean, just I saw it after I saw the second movie, and the movie I picked is M. Night Shyamalan's Unbreakable. Basically, this movie is about this Mr. Glass. I mean, I forgot his real name.
Basically, Elijah.
Elijah something. It was Elijah. Elijah's character, played by Samuel L. Jackson, who is a man who has basically very fragile bones. Like, his bones break so easily. And another character played by Bruce Willis, called what's his name again? David.
It's Elijah Price and David Dunn.
David Dunn. Yeah, David Dunn, who is a high school security guard for football matches, I think. And both of these characters, they claim to have superhuman strength, and at first you didn't really know that. You thought this is like, and even David Dunn himself thought like the crash he survived and the train crash is just some miracle or something. But I'll get to that later. But basically, my pick is Unbreakable.
All right, M. Night Shyamalan's Unbreakable. If you're talking about spoilers and twist endings, you think Shyamalan is a name that might come up. So, 2 good picks here. I will cue the 5 minutes, let you guys get into it. And again, Asher hinted it, but I'm looking to see why would the spoiler ruin the experience of the movie? That is kind of the main point I'm looking for in this argument. So, we'll start now, and the floor is open, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, you need time.
Okay, yeah. So I'm just going to go over it. Simply, I just think that having a character and having the entire plot question be, who is Kaiser Sose? And just knowing that before the movie even begins tarnishes the entirety of the movie, because even though there are elements that are still good in this movie, the entire running plot question throughout the entire movie is, who is Kaiser Sose? So we get to this guy, and the interrogation scene is completely ruined because you know what's going to happen now. You know that Verbal Kint is Kaiser Sose. He's just lying through his teeth and really, really good at coming up with stuff. You know what's going to happen. It ruins the plot. As for Unbreakable, I just don't see how this is not considered like something that you'd already...
Basically, the spoiler is, like, I know I didn't mention it before, but the spoiler is at the end, like, you know that David Dunn's accident, the train crash, was caused by Samuel Jackson character, Elijah. I mean, you did not expect that. You thought that there's something wrong with the train, there's something wrong, with all aspects of the, storyline. But it's just Elijah trying to find someone who is like him. And in the end, he sacrificed like basically dozens of people in that train crash just to find David. So that shows you the spoiler is like he is the mastermind and he's like the actual villain of this movie.
Okay.
At first you thought he's like trying to help David discover his power and everything. You thought he's like someone like mentor to David, but in the end, he's the villain. He even say that like I'm your nemesis. He
Yeah.
even claims that.
Well, first of all,
I mean,
that
that's the spoiler.
well, first of all, I think a lot of people could find that plot twist coming from a mile away. I think that's a very the mentor is actually the villain. The mentor is the been the villain all along. That's a cliche plot twist in a lot of movie conventions. And I even have a quote from Vulture, which I did before doing this speech. It's it's a less of a plot twist and more of a reveal that makes you sit back and go, huh, really? Riding on the fumes of The Sixth Sense's smash success probably didn't help its case either. As twisty as thinking you're going somewhere fancy for dinner and ending up at Jack in the Box is considered the twist by Vulture. So first of all, if we're talking about the twist itself, which I know we're not, it's really what happened and which ruins the movie more. But if we're talking about the twist itself, I think the twist is just not really even that much of a twist. Second of all, I also believe that the movie is very well done and very well crafted itself, besides the twist ending, and knowing that throughout the whole movie doesn't really take anything away, because I think a lot of people could be very intuitive and know it anyway throughout the whole movie. So I don't think it takes that much away from the actual argument and the actual viewing experience, because I think that if you're smart and if you end up watching the movie not knowing it, you'd probably figure it out the same way as if you did know it. So I don't think that having this this plot twist ruins the movie like it does in The Usual Suspects, because I don't think anybody sees it coming. And the way that it happens, I don't think anybody sees it coming. I don't think anybody, not just the fact that Verbal-Kint is Kaiser Sose, but the fact that he looks at posters around the room to make up his alibi on the spot, and the fact that he fakes a very handicapped, debilitating illness for his entire alibi and for his entire fake persona in the movie and in the life is very, very. Those are very big plot twists that
that is a 30-second warning, guys.
That changes the entire aspect of the movie when you look at it through those eyes. You see all of that and you're just like, come on, I know what's going to happen. It's ridiculous. I just think you can use context clues to look at your movie, and you can just cherish the movie because it's a better movie. It's a really well-made movie, besides the fact of the plot twist. So I don't know. I'm ending my point.
But you never see it coming. I mean, to be honest, at first you saw him as someone who's obsessed, trying to find out. Oh, is it time up?
That is time. We'll let you continue where you were in the closing argument, and we'll actually go ahead and go to closing arguments now and start on you, Subrath. And give us the final word on why Unbreakable is the movie that would more be ruined if you gave away the twist.
I mean, so far at the end, you did not expect him. He was just calling David to his office. And you did not expect him to be a terrorist. I mean, I when I saw the movie, I thought he was just gonna give a pep talk to David before they both live happily ever after. But no, at the end, it shows you he has all the maps, all the tools to basically bomb stuff. And he's basically a terrorist. He even touched David just to explain everything, because he doesn't know how to explain it all. So he just touched David on purpose to reveal himself as the villain. And it shows you all the things that he has done. Even the train part. He goes out of the train, and the guy and the train guy says, what are you guys doing? What are you doing here? And then the train thing happened. So basically, David, taking it all in, was shocked. You can see. Bruce Willis wasn't that good of an actor, but you can see that how shocked he was to find out that the guy he thought to be his friend was actually his enemy. So it builds up, and the movie ends just like that. It didn't show you what happened to Elijah. It didn't show you what happened to David. I mean, you're just in shock at the end of the movie, and basically curious to see what it turns out now in the next year's movie in Glass. So basically, that's my closing.
All right, and we'll go back over to Asher for your closing argument.
If you're talking about how plot twists end, it's the same thing with mine. It ends and that's it. So, moot point there. Secondly, I think that actually you're building a franchise off the movies, not the plot twists. So, I think that actually benefits my point more, that your movie, it does not hinder the fact that the movie is good. It ruins the movie through the plot twist. I think itself, it benefits from just having just an incredibly dense universe in this film itself. I think you can cherish the movie from the perspective of David Dunn, from the perspective of Elijah Jackson, and I think you can cherish the movie through those characters because they have so much poise and it's very good writing and very good cinematography through those. I think in my movie, although it's a very well done movie, and I'm going to give that credit where credit's due, I still think that the plot twist of the character, Verbalkind becoming Kaiser Sose, and the fact that he had this transformation and basically just faked a debilitating illness and made up an alibi on the spot, and you know that, it's completely ruins not only that scene, but it puts a sour taste in your mouth for the entirety of the film when you look at it as a whole. And I think your film, it started a franchise, it started a universe, and I don't think that's because of the plot twist. I think that's just because of the incredibly universe building that M. Night Shyamalan did in his sophomore effort. And that's really all I have to say about that.
All right. So 2 great movies there. You guys helped me realize how much I love both of these films. They were, on a personal note, they were very important movies for me in my film watching. And both had great twists. There's no denying that. I just want to say on a little aside, if I had chosen for this argument, I would have said Iron Man 3, because if I'd known that Mandarin twist, I probably wouldn't have bothered seeing the movie. But that's neither here nor there.
That's good.
But in any case, let's look at these 2 movies here. So Subrath, talking about really kind of getting me emotional, remembering this relationship between Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson in the movie. The betrayal at the end when you find out, how Samuel Jackson was the one that ushered Bruce Willis into discovering who he was, that he had this power, and just that scene at the end, it's just so emotionally shattering when you realize Elijah was the one that crashed the train and it did all of these things, and it is a very powerful moment in the movie, and I do think that the movie would suffer if you had that information at the beginning. It's nice to go through the story and then get that at the end. Asher obviously had a lot of points about Usual Suspects, how the whole kind of fabric of the movie gets torn if you realize that the story you're watching is not actually the story you're watching, that this is a bunch of subterfuge being told by the Kevin Spacey character, and once you get to the end there and that's revealed, that really does alter the experience of watching the movie. So both really strong arguments. The thing that I think was really kind of devilishly good in this argument is something I don't know that I've ever seen in Battleground, is Asher actually saying that the other movie is better than his, and talking Unbreakable up and talking about what a good movie it is as a way of making his own argument, because basically he's making the point that Unbreakable, with its storytelling, its performances, and everything tied together, is a good movie in and of itself. It doesn't rise and fall on the twist. And even the twist itself, you might be able to guess it more so than Usual Suspect, whereas Usual Suspect, it all is kind of bound up with that twist. And maybe the movie itself isn't even as strong as Unbreakable. And if you take the twist out, the movie falls apart more. So I think that really was what we were looking for, was, what movie, is ruined by having that information. And Asher actually talking up Subrath's movie about what a good movie it is, and kind of boosting all of Subrath's arguments about how great Unbreakable is, in order to prove that Unbreakable wouldn't be ruined by the twist, that Unbreakable would still be a strong experience, even if you were given that information. So again, I do have to give the second point to Asher here in a very interesting way of making an argument. I'm sorry, Subrath, but that does put you behind. So we're going into the last question here, and Subrath, you have to get this one to stay alive in the game. Yeah. Otherwise, Otherwise, there'll be a knockout.
I mean, before we move on, I just want to
Yeah.
point out that this in Unbreakable, Samuel Jackson did not say the MF word. He did not say one bit.
Didn't eat a burger
yeah.
either.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
so we're gonna go to the last question here, and then if Subrath gets the point, we will go into a speed round, and if not, unfortunately, will be a KO. So, a lot riding on this last one, and the last question we have here is. This is a fun one. You always like it when you kind of switch gears and go away from the good and veer into the world of the bad. And very quick and to the point question here. What is the worst animated film? That could be anything, any time period. Just what is the worst animated film? And again, I will switch and start with Subrath on this one. Pretty open, whatever case you want to make. Just tell us what the worst animated film is, and your opening argument starts now.
Okay, so I've heard about. I first heard about this movie from basically Chris Tuckman. I mean, I saw his review first. Then I saw the movie. And I saw the review again, and he's right. Basically, this movie is just rubbish. Basically, all the bad animated movies you see, that's not enough. This is basically the dumpster fire of every animated movie you've seen. Even the animation itself, it's not that good. I don't know who made that animation. Just that guy just needs to be fired from his job and just lay down on the street. Don't do animation. Just stay out of the beautiful world of animation. I mean, just breaks my heart to say this, but basically, Rob Schneider, you're done with acting. I'm sure you are done with acting. So basically, my movie is Norm of the North.
Norm of the North.
I'll get to it more later, but yeah, that's my choice.
All right, the Rob Schneider classic that I think most people forgot existed, Norm of the North, is Subrath's pick. Let's jump over to Asher. What all-time opus did you pick in this worst animated film category?
I'm going to take off my glasses for this one because this is a doozy.
Uh-oh, it's getting serious.
Because it's a doozy. Norm of the North is a fantastic pick because it looks awful, and I didn't want to watch it for research. That's how bad.
I saw it.
For this man. I'm happy you saw it. So I'm not helping my case right now. My point is I give you a movie that's not just I don't even really consider it, but a movie. An 86-minute slog of a film, 32% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is putting it lightly. Very, very pumping it up a lot, I'd say. A cash grab, if there ever was one, trying to pretty much cash in on the huge craze of probably 5 years before it, and it's just not funny, it's insensitive, its humor's terrible, it's the Emoji Movie. I don't understand why anybody would choose anything else besides a movie led by T.J. Miller, who plays a meh face trying to be another thing, having other emotions. And say what you will about Norm of the North, I would rather sit through a movie about environment and how a polar bear, how he goes to New York City and people think he is a man trapped in a polar bear's body, or a man in a polar bear mascot suit. I'd rather watch that 100 times more than I'd want to watch a movie that borrows from some of the best animated movies ever made, in Wreck-It Ralph, in Inside Out, in Toy Story, in the Lego Movie, in all of these things. It steals from all of those movies to just cash in on a dying fad. So that's my pick. My pick's the Emoji Movie. Yeah.
All right, guys. So we've got the immortal Rob Schneider as a polar bear and the great Patrick Stewart as Poop. It is Norm of the North
Yeah.
versus the Emoji Movie, and your 5 minutes starts now. Have at it, guys.
I just don't understand why anybody in their right mind would not choose the Emoji Movie. I was thinking of Cars 2
I
initially.
mean, why would you not choose Norm of the North? That's basically the dumpster fire of every movie. I mean, I repeated that. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with Rob Schneider these days. Picking a movie that maybe it's just a cash grab for him. They offer him money. Also, Rob Schneider, are you doing anything today? No. Okay, come on, let's lend your voice for a very shitty animated movie, and we'll pay you just $1 for it. Okay, fine.
But if you're talking about cash grabs, and if you're talking about shitty actors doing shitty movies,
I mean, Emoji Movie at least has a decent animation. You should, if you have, I'm sure you didn't see Norm of the North, like you said, you didn't see it. The animation was garbage. I mean, it's basically worse than Madagascar. It's worse than Madagascar 3.
Okay.
And basically, I mean, I don't know who.
Well,
even the storyline itself. You have there's this girl who was witnessing Rob Schneider's character as a bear, and the parent just lets the girl go to the bear without any consequence. What happens if the bear just that doesn't make sense. I know it's a cartoon, but I mean, come on. Even kids. I mean,
so
to okay, I'll let you talk.
Okay, if you're looking for a cash grab shit show with a bad actor as its lead, this is your movie. This is the movie for you. It has T.J. Miller as a meh face, and it has Patrick Stewart, a sir, and thespian of the arts,
at least
as a poo
decent
emoji.
Actors in that movie. You have decent actors in the movie. We have Rob Schneider and this movie.
You sully their talents.
I can't even remember all the other characters.
You are sullying their talents.
Rob Schneider is in this.
You have Anna Faris and T.J. Miller in this film. Anna Faris has had a very bad streak of films. You have Patrick Stewart in this movie. You have James Corden in this movie. You have a lot of good actors, and you have T.J. Miller.
And they give good performances as
I don't think they give that great performances because they're not given the dialogue to work with.
Exactly, and they tried their best at least. Rob Schneider did not do anything. He's just there as a bear, and nothing happens in the movie. He's just there in the city, and then what?
They try their best. I mean, sure, trying your best at after not studying, you're gonna get an F still. You're gonna get a pat on the back, sure, but it's like you're gonna fail the test. I don't get that argument. I think that, I'll just roll off some jokes here for you. Hey guys, what are you doing? Just some business. What business? Monkey business. Another joke. You are the man, poop. Well, I'm just doing my duty. These are stupid bathroom humor jokes that not even a 4-year-old would like because they know the jokes already. They get them. And the fact that they have cash grab situations like Just Dance, Candy Crush, Skype, Twitter, and it's nonsensical, and they're using some of the best animated movies of all time, like in recent years, the Lego Movie, Wreck-It Ralph, Inside Out, the entire same plot pretty much, where they're just trying to travel back to help their adults, to help their person, to help their human, in society. That is the exact same film as Inside Out. And they're doing it to terrible proportions. So I understand that Norm of the North has bad animation and bad dialogue, and it doesn't have good actors, but it also is not really ripping off any quintessential animated film from the past 5 years. It's not ripping off a staple of cinema from the past decade. It's not, and this Sony picture is sullying the name of some of the best actors on the planet and some of the best films in the past 10 years. And I'm sorry, and just for a cash grab, just for people to be like, oh, there are emojis in this, and one of them Patrick Stewart, I'm going to buy a ticket to this. Oh, it's terrible. It's awful. And plus, you made me watch this? No, not doing it. And the quality's bad too, so just... That's my point. That's my thing.
All right, that is the end of the 5 minutes. I will go ahead and stick with Asher and have you do your closing argument on this horrible situation you're in talking about this movie.
Okay. Yeah. This put me in a bad mood, which was what I expected. Exactly what I expected.
What emoji would you be right now?
I would be I'd be puke face. Yeah, because I'm disgusted with this film. I was going to choose Cars 2 because that's a cash grab for the ages, but at least Cars 2's animation and at least Cars 2's humor is a little bit better than this shitstorm of a film. This film is terrible. It sullies the name of some of the best actors in the business right now. Plus, it has some of the worst actors doing their worst performances, like T.J. Miller. And it has some of the worst jokes. And it has very shoddy animation, but most importantly, I think it rips off some of the best films in the past 10 years and uses those scenes and uses those plot devices to terrible, terrible effect. And that's why I think it is the worst movie the worst animated movie and one of the worst movies of all time. Norm of the North, I think it's bad, but I also would like to laugh through it. I like to walk through the movie and I like to laugh through a movie where people cannot believe that they think that there's a man inside a polar bear suit trying to save the Arctic. I think that's hysterical. I think that's great. I would watch that movie. I would not watch a movie where a meth face is trying to change his emotions just to save a kid's fucking relationship. I don't think that's... So that's, yeah.
All right. And Subrath, for all the marbles, your closing argument on Norm of the North being the worst animated film.
I mean, basically the plot of this movie starts to sound really ridiculous. A bear trying to pretend a human being. How can a human being couldn't tell the difference between a fake polar bear and a real polar bear? That's a real polar bear, and people just in that city just very, very stupid. And
it's New York.
This movie is just very, very unnecessary. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with Rob Schneider. If they had given it to some other actors, I mean, this movie would just be we would just come out on DVD. It wouldn't come out on theaters. I mean, to refer what Chris Tummel says, he watched that movie with kids in the theaters, and the kids does not ask them ask their parents how much longer is this movie gonna take? The movie was only 90 minutes, and after the first half an hour, he said that people are starting to go bored with this movie. Even I got bored between the first 20 minutes of the movie. I don't know, I keep checking the length. I mean, how long? I mean, this is such an unnecessary long, boring movie. I mean, emoji movie, at least you have some entertainment factors, like the fact that you forgot to mention the kid in real life who is using the emoji trying to impress the girl and using the wrong emoji because of the meh emoji not acting properly. I mean, basically, at least you have some little bit entertainment factors. You have great actors in that movie. In this movie, we have Rob Schneider. And Rob Schneider does not do anything these days. He doesn't play in any good movies anymore. And at least you have Patrick Stewart, T.J. Miller, who was in Deadpool 2. Patrick Stewart is he was in the Green Room or something. I forgot his name.
The Green Room, yeah.
Yeah,
it was. I mean, this is just like cash grab for them. Basically just a paycheck movie for them. They just put it in a bank account and just forget about the movie. They don't even care about the movie. I mean, but Norm of the North, I think, is the worst of. It was a much worse movie than this Emoji movie. At least Emoji movie gives me some entertainment factors, and the animation, like I said before, it's way better than Norm of the North, and that's how I close my argument.
All right. Well, I must say that was a spirited argument. I really think both players brought it there. And that's what I like to see. Both had a lot to say based on the hatred of these terrible movies they had to talk about. And I do apologize you had to go through that experience. But here we are. Good arguments on both sides. Subrath talking about this movie, the plot doesn't make any sense. It's slow, it's boring, and it's shoddy animation. And the only actor that it offers the audience is Rob Schneider, which is a pretty low thing. And then Asher, talking about the bankruptcy of his movie in terms of it's just a cash grab. It's stealing from other movies. It has, T.J. Miller is the person that's anchoring this thing, giving some of the insipid jokes that the movie peddles. This is a tough one. This is really close. And the only way that I can try to answer this is, to me, there's two kinds of bad. There's bad as in, what am I watching? This is so stupid. This is just bad. And then there's bad in, this is boring. It's a chore. It's hard to sit through. Those are the two kinds of bads. And I personally always think that I'd rather watch just a train wreck movie that's stupid and has lame jokes and is just bad, something that I can kind of laugh at and make fun of, than a movie that's a slog that has the kids falling asleep in the audience saying, when do we get to leave? That, to me, is really the worst film because, like Subrath said with Norm of the North, this is a movie that has premise that doesn't make any sense. It feels long. It really has nothing going on, and the animation is hard to look at. I got to give Subrath actually the point on this one because I feel like on what he presented us, this seems like a movie that's a little. Yeah. It's boring. It's just hard to sit through. Whereas I think maybe the poop jokes could get people at least through the Emoji Movie as painful as they are. So we are going to go to our speed round today.
If you want a slog of a double feature, you should watch Norm of the North and Nanook of the North back to back. That would be a slog.
Nice pull with the 19. Kill myself.
Oh my goodness!
Nice pull with the 1920s silent film. There.
Yeah, first ever documentary.
I love that that reference there, Asher. Yeah, metaphorical extra points to you on bringing up the silent film era. But we are going to go to our speed round. It wasn't a knockout, so you're going to get 2 questions potentially in the speed round. So we're going to basically give you a topic. You guys will make your picks, and then you don't know what this is ahead of time, so you're just going to be arguing off the cuff. You'll get 20 seconds to make your point, and then you'll get a 10-second rebuttal. So since Asher is, it doesn't matter. It's basically going to be, I'm going to tell you what it is, and then whoever answers first, then they'll get to make the first argument here. So this is going to be an either or, this first one here. So basically, I'm going to give you the question. You're going to have one of 2 choices, so just yell out which choice you want to make first. And then, if you pick 2 different things, great. If you pick the same thing, then I'm going to go for which answer I hear first. So the question is, which upcoming movie are you more excited to see? Matt Reeves' Batman movie or Wonder Woman 1984?
Wonder Woman 1984.
All right. So you picked different answers. Very good. And Asher did speak first. So he's going to be arguing that the movie he wants to see is Wonder Woman 1984. And I will give you your 20 seconds. And whenever you're ready, start speaking, Asher, and the 20 seconds will start.
Wonder Woman was one of the best movies of 2016. I really think it was a very impressive movie, or 2017, I forgot what year. One of the most impressive movies of the year because it had such great female power led by Gal Gadot and such great female direction led by Patty Jenkins. It had an incredible character in Chris Pine playing Steve Trevor, and it had a very, very good plot that was on the edge of my seat the entire time. That was 20 seconds?
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what? I think it's actually you're supposed to get 30. I just realized.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you
It's
10 more. I'm sorry, but yeah, it is 30. I'm sorry. 10 more for you. Keep going. Sorry about that. That's my mistake.
Okay.
And yeah, I'll give you 10 more whenever you're ready.
It's a fantastic film, and I can't wait to see what they have to make with that film. Batman is cursed right now, and I do not want to see what they got to do with Batman in the future.
And that is it. I apologize for the hiccup there.
It's fine.
Okay. So my thing is going nuts. And all right. Subrath, whenever you're ready, go ahead and start.
Okay, so the reason why people have been looking forward for Ben Affleck Batman movie, and this argument I'm going to use Ben Affleck because I so far don't believe any of the rumors that it's being spewed out. Basically, Ben Affleck is going to be Batman, and Matt Reeves, I trust him. I've seen all his movies. I mean, basically Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War of the Planet of the Apes. Basically, gives me hope that Batman is going to be one hell of a movie. And basically, the first draft that was given is about Batman and against Deathstroke, and I mean that's basically giving you all the chills that you want to see Batman fighting against someone who is
that is going to be 30 seconds there, Subrath. All right. So it's 20 seconds for the rebuttal, or is it? Do you remember?
It's supposed to be 15 seconds.
15 for the rebuttal. Okay, I do apologize for that.
If you ask Matt.
Yeah. Okay. So
final question is like 30, 20, and 10 seconds.
Got it.
That's the final question.
All right. So Asher, I will give you whenever you're ready. 15 seconds for your rebuttal.
Okay. It hasn't been talked about before badly? Of course it has. It's been through development hell for a while. Plus, I'd love to see Wonder Woman in the 80s. I think I have a lot of 80s nostalgia, and I'd love to see it. Plus, Batman has been slogged through for a while.
All right. And whenever you're ready, Subrath.
Thing is, with Wonder Woman in 1984, you expect to see Wonder Woman fighting against Cheetah. With Batman, you don't know what's going to happen with this movie. I mean, basically, Ben Affleck has been working out basically, and it's still a mystery, and that's why we are looking forward to this movie more than Wonder Woman. You know what you're going to get with Wonder Woman, but you don't know what you're going to get with Batman.
All right, that is going to be time. All right, that was a tough one. Both of you speaking passionately, Asher talking about how great the first Wonder Woman was, and how there's momentum. We want to see a sequel, and also mentioning the female power of that movie, which is important. Subrath kind of going the other direction, talking about we don't really know what this movie, the Batman movie, is going to be. There's a lot of interest. We've got a director who has a great track record with Matt Reeves. Subrath saying that Ben Affleck likely will continue in the role and grow in the role. Asher countering with, this movie's been in development hell. DC, there's been a little up and down, so we can't expect something good there. Whereas Wonder Woman's more on solid footing. It's a tough one. Basically, where I'm landing is I feel like I got from Subrath a little more of the hopeful, this is one of the great characters. We want to see, an actual movie with this character with a good director. He mentioned the director. He talked about the potential, and, Asher just basically saying, yeah, the first movie was good, so you want to see a sequel. That's good, but with Subrath, I felt like there was a little more in the fact that, it could be Deathstroke. We're not sure. There have been different scripts. There's, a great director involved. We really, want to see what they're going to do with this character and really pumped to see where it can go. So by the slimmest of margins, I'm going to give that point to Subrath, with actually ties the game. And it all comes down to the last question here.
Okay.
So,
oh boy.
Things have taken an interesting turn. So, again, Subrath, so it's 30, 20, and 10? That's 30, 20, and 10. So, all right. I'm going to give you guys your question. Whoever answers first, they'll get to go. Again, if you pick the same answer, then whoever I hear first, that's the person that gets that answer. Then the other person has to pick something else. This one's a little more open-ended, and I will say, I'm not looking for a specific movie here. I'm actually looking for the character, and you can talk about different movies. One specific movie, it doesn't matter. I just want you to make the case for the character going in, so you have that in your mind before I actually tell you the question. So the question is, giving away a little bit about when we're recording. We're actually recording the day before Halloween, so I wanted to go with something with a little more of a Halloween vibe for our last question, and it is, who is the most awesome classic Universal movie monster based on the movies? All right, Subrath, locking in Dracula.
Okay. Let us go with. Okay, Frankenstein's monster.
All right, the
Yeah.
two big ones.
Yeah.
The two ones that most people would think of.
Yeah.
Dracula versus the Frankenstein monster. And I'm very thankful that you called him the Frankenstein monster, not just Frankenstein,
Yeah.
which is a mistake most people make that don't really know these movies well enough.
Yeah.
All right, so whenever you're ready, Subrath, you did answer first. I'm putting 30 seconds on the clock, and we'll get your opening salvo on why Dracula is the most awesome universal monster whenever you're ready.
You've seen all the different types of iterations of Dracula through Gary Oldman's performance, through Christopher Plummer's performance, and also you've seen all different types of storylines that Dracula goes through. Basically, most of them not all similar. You have sad endings, you have heartbreaking endings, different types of. This is basically the most the oldest mythological monster that Universal has produced, and basically it all starts with Bela Lugosi's Dracula movie in 1940.
All right, that is 30 seconds. And now, Asher, you have your 30 seconds to make your case for Frankenstein's monster whenever you're ready.
You're talking about all-time greats. How about Boris Karloff as Frankenstein's monster? He's fantastic in this role. He's awesome, and this is one of the best adaptations of a book put to film. You have Mary Shelley's Frankenstein being put to film in an incredible way. You have a man who just wants to learn how to be human, but he is a freak of nature. He is a creation beyond life itself. You have a man just trying to fit in, but everybody pushes him down. And I think that's what everybody wants nowadays. Everybody's looking at that movie and looking at that life and looking at society now.
That is going to be 30 seconds. Okay, so we're going to jump back over to Subrath. You get 15 now to make your first of two rebuttals whenever you're ready.
Just one sec.
Mm-hmm. Take your time.
I mean, Frankenstein is. He's basically the monster that people wants to feel sorry for. But I'm not going for that route. I'm going for the route where people really hates this character, and basically he's a monster. He's an actual monster with no feelings, no remorse. He just wants to basically turn everyone into like him, basically giving a bite. Yeah.
That goes fast. That is 15 seconds. And again, we'll jump over to Asher whenever you're ready.
Is this my last 15 seconds, or do we?
No, you'll get one more chance after this.
Doesn't have feelings? I don't know. He wants a bride, and he gets a bride, so that's pretty much the feelings. As for Dracula, I hate his accent. I think it's so bad, and I really want more of a human like Frankenstein. He wants to be more of a human being, and people just cast him out for that. That
is 15 seconds. All right, so it all comes down to this. We get a final 10 seconds to make your final argument / rebuttal for your character, and whenever you're ready, Subrath.
There's nothing ridiculous about his accent. He's from Transylvania. Transylvania, of course you have people from Transylvania who have accents. How can you not know that? He's from Transylvania. I mean.
All right, that is. I know it goes fast. That is the 10 seconds, Subrath. All right. I'm sorry, but it'll be the same for Asher. You'll get the same time whenever you're ready. The 10 seconds.
Use it wisely.
Frankenstein's a character society needs right now. He's an outcast who really wants to be loved and really wants to be a human. Plus, Adam Sandler's Hotel Transylvania tarnished the name of Dracula.
All right. Okay, well, that was a fun one to end with. The little Halloween flavor there. Great job from both these guys. Just kind of sifting through what we heard here. Subrath talking about all the different adaptations, all the different versions from Gary Oldman to the original Bela Lugosi with Dracula. A lot of different flavors with the story, some of them with tragic endings, some of them different. Talking about how this guy is, he's really a monster. He's, somebody that you want to hate, then be terrified of, which is something great for a monstrous character. And then Asher focusing more on the OG, the original Frankenstein film, which, by the way, was by James Whale, 1931. Great film. But talking about Boris Karloff and his portrayal of the Frankenstein monster more as a character of pity. He didn't ask to be made. He's just somebody who was created, and he just wants to be human. He's reaching out, and it's a character that even today you relate to. And then he was attacking the accent of Dracula a little bit, which I think Subrath countered pretty well. It's a Transylvanian accent. It's what you get with Dracula. It's what you kind of expect. And then also Asher thrown out there that the character is kind of a joke because of Hotel Transylvania. I thought that was a neat little dig there. The question was the most awesome monster. I just have to focus on what the actual wording of the question was to try to get my bearings here with where I think this landed. It's always tough, I just have to make the best call I think I can make. So the most awesome monster, we've got the bad guy, basically the vampire, the OG, and then the character that is more sympathetic that you relate to. I just think because I think one of you is a little more focused, had a more focused, direct way to attack the question, whereas the other person was kind of a little more all over the place. And Asher, by focusing specifically on that one movie, on that one character, and how, groundbreaking and memorable that character is and how he still relates today, whereas Subrath was kind of, there's different versions of Dracula. He went back to Bela Lugosi, but originally he was kind of talking about other versions. And I just think that focus that Asher brought to, this character and how he was portrayed and how memorable and involving that is, to me, makes a more awesome character because you're more involved in it. And it's that one specific version, it may be wise not to talk about Robert De Niro and some other ridiculous things that have been done with Frankenstein over the years. Maybe wise to just focus on that interpretation.
I Am Frankenstein by Aaron Eckhart.
Yeah,
he didn't mention that. He didn't mention
maybe
that.
That might have been a good thing to come up. But yeah, I do by the slimmest of margins. I'm really impressed by how Subrath came back here. He was pretty behind in this match. He came back really good, fought on these last arguments, including this one. But by the slimmest of margins, I'm going to go with Asher with his focused, take on Frankenstein. So that does make, with a score of 3-2. Asher the victor today in Movie Battleground. Moving forward in the stats, unfortunately, Subrath, I think you're really getting better here. I don't think the 0-3 really reflects. I think that one more chance here, and I really think you can get that win. You came really close here today. You really showed some fire that I love to see. But I'm going to go ahead and go to Asher. How are you feeling right now, eking out that win there, putting the Weinstein days behind you?
Man, putting the Weinstein days behind me, that sounds really bad right now. Oof. But okay. I gotta be honest, Jer, my heart was beaten, at that last one, because I had no idea who you were gonna choose. Subrath put up a hell of a fight. I did not expect that at all. Not because I don't think Subrath's a bad competitor. I just thought my answers were better and my arguments were gonna be strong, and they were at first, but that speed round is a hell of a thing, and I was...
It is.
Oof. And I, honestly, the Matt Reeves Batman, I'm super excited for. So I chose the wrong one. But I hats off to you, Subrath. That was really incredible match. And you are really starting to show your stuff. So can't wait to see who I'm facing next.
Absolutely agreed. And Subrath, I'm sorry, man, but you really showed something here today. How are you feeling after what turned out to be a very close battle?
Basically, this is just exhausting.
Believe me, I know.
Yeah. Props to Asher. I didn't expect to get the last 2 points. I thought I was just gonna get another knockout here. Except didn't. Still 2 knockouts. I mean,
hey, you're moving in the right direction. You're moving. You get a non-knockout. Next thing you know, you'll get a win.
I got my first 2 points in this match.
There you go.
You did.
Very good.
Yeah. I just have to take all the positives, and I have to work on some stuff before my next match, if I will have next match. Chris Clark, I'm coming for you.
Oh, I'd like to see that one.
Because I'm 0-3 and he's also 0-3, so.
Oh, really?
There you go.
Wow, that's going to be a good match.
That may be something we have to make happen. We'll definitely have some discussions there. That sounds like that could be fun. But that is going to bring us to the end of Movie Battleground today. This was a fun one. We're going to go ahead and end with some plugs. I'll start with you, Asher. Is there anything you'd like to plug? Where can we find you on the internet?
Yeah, I'm going to be uploading some new videos starting, I believe, in January. I'm going to start a new channel. I believe it's going to be called As Good as Gold. So look out for that. I'm going to be putting that up on social media and stuff like that. As for other stuff, I got a radio show, 9:30 to 11:30 Eastern, on doobieradio.com. My school's radio station's called Doobie Radio, 91.1 WDUB the Doobie, and I talk a lot about movies, a lot about music, a lot about just a lot of general stuff, a lot of cool stuff, and I have a lot of great guests on, and I'll do a lot of fun top 10s. So if you're missing top 10 on Collider, come over to me. Got some nice top 10s for you. So, cool.
That sounds awesome. And Subrath, anything you'd like to plug?
Of course, I'm the graphics guy here in Movie Battleground. You can find me anywhere on Facebook. I play in other leagues and multiplex. And basically, I hope I'm going to get into Full Metal soon, but I'll see how.
We'll get you in soon, I promise. Yeah. All right, and I'm Jeremy Paul Adams on Facebook and YouTube. You can find me there, and also this is the second week that we've relaunched the Full Metal Trivia channel. We're putting out content every day, and Movie Battleground, the show, is now there. So you can see all the Movie Battleground episodes, and if you like movie trivia, we have shows there you can watch, a singles league, a teams league. Just check it all out on Facebook, and I'm the head question writer and do a lot over there, so a lot of awesome content we want to have you guys see. That'll bring us to the end today. Just always check us out, and if you're interested in competing, get active on the Movie Battleground and Full Metal page, and we'll try to get you in a match so you can show your stuff in debating. Again, I'm Jeremy the Atom Adams for Full Metal and for Movie Battleground, signing off. See you later, guys.
Okay, and